Going into the 2022 NFL season, nearly everybody had the Denver Broncos pegged as one of the top seeds, one of the top teams in the AFC, with nearly everybody else also, including yours truly, crowning them as title contenders. Now, some 5 weeks into the season, all of that has seemingly changed. And instead of us talking about how great the Denver Broncos are with their newly acquired quarterback in Russell Wilson, we're instead talking about what the hell's going on in Denver. We're talking about Russell Wilson, who right now, at this point in his career, looks to be a shell of his former self. We're talking about head coach Nathaniel Hackett, who looks to be lost in all of this. He just doesn't know what he's doing. And the Denver Broncos, a team that for years was thought to be a quarterback away from competing, sitting at 2-3 to begin the season and coming off of a Thursday night 12-9 loss to the Indianapolis Colts in one of the most pitiful primetime football games we've ever seen. The question remains, what is wrong with the Denver Broncos? And if we just break it down to two things, I do think there's two big glaring issues with this football team right now. The number one glaring issue is the head coach. And this is not me right now saying whether or not Nathaniel Hackett needs to get fired. This is just me saying that Nathaniel Hackett is in over his head. And for all this talk about a guy who was the Aaron Rodgers whisperer. We've heard that, right? We heard it with Philbin. We heard it with a few people. We heard it with McCarthy, that this guy is Aaron Rodgers whisperer. This guy's Adam Gase. We heard it with Peyton Manning whisperer in Denver with Adam Gase. That's how he got 2 head coaching jobs. And we heard the same thing with Nathaniel Hackett, that he was one of the main reasons that offense last year was so powerful and so productive. It had nothing to do with, Devontae Adams. It had nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. It had everything to do with Nathaniel Hackett. And that's why he got the Denver job. So you have a head coach who, at this point in time, looks to be in over his head. You have a quarterback in Russell Wilson who is not playing well, especially considering Russell Wilson's standard. This is a guy in Russell Wilson who I believe had 3 MVP caliber years where people were saying, the 2019 year, was Russell's year to win the MVP if there ever was one. But then Lamar Jackson went out there, led the league in touchdowns, had over 1,000 yards rushing, led the league in interception to touchdown ratio, and he just blew everyone out of the water. So, of course, it didn't happen that year, but there were many years where Russell Wilson had 35-plus touchdowns to about 10 or under 10 interceptions. And this year, they're 2-3. He's not even completing 60% of his passes. And the offense itself looks anemic, and it is anemic. This is an offense that was outplayed by Geno Smith in 2022. And granted, Geno Smith in 2022 isn't playing bad by any stretch of the imagination. But for a guy in Russell Wilson who they paid a boatload of money and that boatload of draft picks, they gave up Noah Fant, they gave up 2 first-round draft picks in order to get Russell Wilson. And it was supposed to be as easy as plug and play. For years, everyone's been saying that we have a great defense, we need a quarterback, and we need the franchise quarterback, I should say, to make all of our young receivers and our young weapons look even better. Because, look, we're finishing 7-9, 8-8 with Trevor Siemian and the Drew Locks of the world at quarterback and the Teddy Bridgewaters of the world at quarterback. Think about where we'd be if we had a quarterback. And we put Russell Wilson in there. Everyone, including myself, thought that it was going to be a win-win situation for everybody. And yet, we're sitting here talking about how terrible this team looks. Not on paper, but on the field. And Russell Wilson's play cannot be exonerated. There is no way Russell Wilson should be completing less than 60% of his passes. The Denver Broncos are in serious trouble. And if they don't make the adjustments, if they don't switch out that offensive line, if they don't focus on the running game or just get this chemistry going with Russell, there's so much they need to do. Like, this offense is garbage right now. It is garbage. At this point, you could have saved all the draft picks. You could have saved all the money, kept Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater around, and just done exactly what you're doing now. Because anemic offense, turning the ball over at critical junctures, incompetency at head coach. Tell me, what's the difference between the Denver Broncos now than it was last year? Genuinely. Hey everyone, we hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, keep it real.